Alright, gents, so let's test your hype beast knowledge. What do you know about the shoe style Poulaines? And no, I'm not talking about the latest drop of fashionable sneakers. You see, Poulaines, also known as Krakau's, have been around a lot longer. Gents, and when I mean far back, I mean far back. We're talking the 1350s. Yet despite this lack of practicality, these shoes would be the rage for the next 100 years. In fact, wealthy individuals, noblemen that wore these shoes quickly sent a message that, hey, I'm not the kind of person to engage in manual labor because I've got money and I can pay people to do that, which is really interesting compared to the shoes that are in fashion nowadays. I mean, these sneakers that everyone's paying top dollar for in many ways represent an athletic lifestyle that promote physical activity. Well, gents, in any case, all of this brings us to the question, why do people care so much about their footwear? Now, you've probably heard the expression that shoes are the foundation of a good-looking outfit. Gents, that statement is both 100% true figuratively and literally. First up, whether you have a classic wardrobe, a street wardrobe, a casual wardrobe, no matter what the type of wardrobe, you carefully chose your shoes because they're one of the most expensive items in your closet. They're the foundation of your house. You want them to look good, but first, they have to function and be comfortable, which, if you think about it, is a pretty tough thing. Many things are functional, many things are fashionable, but few of them are the combination. And for thousands of years, shoes have managed to be both. Now, gents, let me give you some examples of shoes I think every man should have in his wardrobe, especially if you're building a timeless, classic, interchangeable wardrobe. So first up, I want to show you the classic penny loafer. This is a casual shoe. This is a shoe that you can dress up with a casual suit. There are tons of options when it comes to colors and finishes. In fact, speaking of finishes, look at the patina on this pair of loafers right here. Now, patina, in case you're not familiar with it, this is an art form of how they finish, color, and treat the leather after the shoe has been formed. Now, if you've already got penny loafers and you want something that's a little bit dressier, something a little bit different, check out tassel loafers. And some people will argue that tassel loafers are more casual because of that tassel right there on the top. I think that they are a great fourth or fifth shoe if you've already got quite a few of the classics in your wardrobe. And when I'm talking about classics, I'm talking about Oxfords, which in my opinion, it goes without saying, every man should have a pair in his wardrobe, especially if you have a suit in black or a dark brown. This is your go-to if you are going to be dressing up. I do think bringing in a bit of texture with a bit of broguing, especially if you don't get dressed up too often, understand these are going to be a bit more casual. Still, I think most men could pull these off with a suit. Although do remember, as the shoes get lighter, they technically are going to be less formal. Now, what about Chelsea boots? Me personally, I find the fact that they slip on, slip off, they make for a great travel shoe. They also protect the ankles, and I love just the overall clean design, especially if you go with a little bit of a fun color, maybe a blue, or again, if you're just starting off, go with a classic dark brown or black. Now, what about monk straps? So you've probably seen the double monk strap. This has been popular now for over a decade, but prior to that, we just had the single monk strap. You probably want to choose one. For most of you guys, I think the double monk is going to look great. Either way, gents, these shoes have a long storied history. They're not going to go out of style anytime soon, and they look good. And of course, let's not forget the new modern classic, the hole cut. In the last 20 years, this shoe has really made a name for itself. I think it is just absolutely beautiful. And if you own this shoe in a dark color, black or a dark brown, or even a burgundy, what I love about it is it will look great with any formal suit. In fact, I dare say you could probably pull it off with black tie. Now, gents, all the shoes I just showed you can be found over at today's sponsor, Thomas Bird. Now, earlier this year, Thomas Bird sent me a pair of their shoes. I've worked with a number of companies, and I have to say that Thomas Bird stacks up. Absolutely love the style. These guys are designing these shoes over in England, but they're having them made in Italy. What that means is you're getting amazing craftsmanship with spot-on classic design. In a nutshell, all the shoes on their website, when you go through, you're going to find that you absolutely are going to love the look of, and these aren't fashionable shoes that are going to be out of fashion in a couple months. No, these are shoes that you can invest in, and you can know that, hey, 5 years from now, I'll be wearing these shoes and they're going to look great. And let's talk about their construction. On the upper, they're using a full grain calf leather. On the inside, they've got a full calf leather lining. And for their soles, they're using a Blake stitch. And what I really like is that they've given you traction on the base of the shoe. I get it. So many companies want to say, hey, we're using all leather down here. They understand that, hey, no, you want a little bit of traction right here, because how many of you guys have slipped with a brand new pair of shoes? They fit true to size. They're absolutely beautiful. And the build quality, again, is second to none. And on top of all that, gents, they sell them at a fair price. Seriously, gents, I've bought fancy designer shoes at 3 times this cost. Guys, this is a steal for the quality you're getting. Gents, if you don't believe me, go over to their website. Look at all the designs. Look at the thousands of straight up honest reviews on their website. Guys just like you from around the world that are writing about their experiences with Thomas Bird. Gents, I'm linking to Thomas Bird down in the description of today's video with the best deal on the web. Beautiful shoes, great quality, incredibly comfortable. Check out Thomas Bird. Use that link to get the best deal on the web. Awesome company. Go check them out. So my first point was about shoes being the foundation. This second one is straight up, shoes are status. Now that statement probably holds less weight today than it did 100 years ago, but make no mistake, people are lazy. They use shortcuts to quickly judge other people. And one of the first things that women and other men look at is a person's shoes to quickly determine who they are, what's their story, what their status is. I mean, let's go back to the ancient Egyptians. The majority of people were laborers. They didn't have a whole lot of money. You had a small merchant class. You had those that served those that were at the top. And then you had the nobility. You had the priests at the top. Now, because of the harsh conditions, of course, people wanted to protect their feet. But if you had a little bit more means, you actually didn't walk too much. You actually had a litter. You were being carried. You had other means of transportation. You didn't need your shoes so much to do the walking, but as to quickly show off to others, hey, I don't even have to say who I am. The fact that my feet are clean, that I am wearing these sandals that are adorned with jewelry, that right there said, hey, get out of my way or get on your knees and serve me. Let's fast forward 1,000 years. Let's go to the Greeks, the home of democracy. Now, the Greeks, like the Egyptians, wore sandals, but theirs were called crippets. And just like the Egyptians, yes, they were functional, but if you were a politician, if you were a merchant, if you were a philosopher, if you were part of the elite, you had intricate designs in your shoes along with elevated soles. Again, this probably took a little bit away from the functionality and increased the price of those shoes probably 100-fold. And the Romans, of course, had something very similar, but they took it a step further. Their footwear was decorated with metals, gems, and decorative elements like the lunola, basically that crescent moon shape. Again, another clear indicator of wealth and status without having to say a word. The next reason that shoes can make or break an outfit, they allow you to bring in the allure of craftsmanship. Now, the Egyptians, the Greeks, the Romans, those ancient civilizations, they were onto something. But it was really the Europeans, with them taking leather and all of a sudden creating a three-dimensional work of art that not only looked good, but also because it was made of leather, literally a second skin that was durable, that could deal with abrasion, that could be bent thousands and thousands of times and go back to its original shape. All of a sudden, you had a whole craftsman guild arise that worked with leather and that could create these works of art that happened to be on the feet of those that could afford them. Now, again, for nobility, the function didn't matter too much, but for the working class, for the merchants, for the soldiers, for knights, they wanted something that not only looked good, but again, would protect them possibly in combat and at least would be functional in day-to-day riding of horses or walking throughout town. And this is when footwear really started to take off. All of a sudden, we saw different types of leathers. We saw different ways to treat the leathers, different ways to color the leathers. You had lightweight soft leather that could be used in a slipper. You had a heavier duty full grain leather that could be used in a boot that would protect a knight going into battle. And with all of these pieces, the craftsmanship shone through. And of course, the cost. You could bet that this would cost 100 to 1,000 times more than what the average person had to pay. And again, this matters because when those without means would see somebody wearing a pair of shoes or a pair of boots like this, they would know, hey, this guy can not only afford shoes like this, he can afford a horse. Again, if you haven't picked up on the theme, for thousands of years, we have been associating shoes with status and a person's place in society. That being said, let's not overlook the cultural significance of shoes. When we look in Native American culture, specifically moccasins, yes, they're functional, but the beads, the adornments, the way that they are made, a lot of this held cultural and spiritual significance. The beadwork and design could signify a wearer's tribe and their personal story. Jumping to the other side of the world, in traditional Japanese weddings, a bride and groom exchange elaborately decorated sandals known as geta. It's a symbol of their union and their shared journey together. And of course, let's talk about the meaning of taking your shoes off. My wife is Slavic. She's Ukrainian. So whenever you enter our home, you take your shoes off. Isn't always common in the United States, but in many cultures, the removal of shoes before entering a temple or on sacred ground is seen by many as a way to metaphorically leave the dirt and impurities at the door. Now, at this point, some of you guys are saying, well, Antonio, that's all ancient history. Come on. Why do I even care about shoes nowadays? I mean, I don't pay attention. Yes, you do. And it comes down to the psychology of attention. If any of us look at a person, what do we notice? We notice the parts that are moving, maybe a little bit of the swinging of the arms, definitely the movement of the legs. And what's down there at the legs? We've got these shiny little endpoints. Those are going to be the shoes. Now, when you look at a person up and down, and many studies have shown that people spend a little bit more time looking at the feet, and they definitely spend a good amount of time looking at the face. The rest of the body, they move up and down just very quickly, giving it a glance over. My point, if we were to divide that attention, 50% to the face, 20% to the body, 30% to the shoes. So as you can see, because of movement, because of our habits, all of a sudden, we're quickly trying to box that individual. This is our shortcut to make sense of the world. We don't have time to really get to know them, to ask what degree they have, where are they from. No, we make a quick assessment on people based off of how they're dressed, how they behave, and you better believe we use shoes as a guide to make a determination, is this someone I even want to speak to? Now, what about personal style? This is where shoes, you can have a lot of fun. And I'm not saying you got to go with formal dress shoes, although, I think that is a great place for a man to start with. You're really going to stand out from the crowd, but you can wear any type of shoe. And when you have fun with sneakers, when you have fun with shoes, when you have fun with boots, and you bring in something that's maybe a little bit eclectic, but is part of your personality, or maybe something that's classic, something that reminds you of your grandfather. In any case, what you're doing is you are allowing your personality to shine. You're allowing the world to see a little bit more about you without you having to say a word. And hey, go check out this video right here. Come on, guys. You know I take care of you. I always make sure we got a great video lined up. So binge watch the channel. Go check out some more videos. I appreciate you guys. And yeah, boom, right here. Go check it out. Solid video. Yes, you want to go check this out next. Come on.